Right everyone, it is Finn here, welcome back to my channel where today I'm going to be giving you my Premier League Match Week 27 predictions. And of course, I know I said literally every single week, but Premier League Match Week 27, definitely a match week to look out for. We've got fantastic games lined up, such as a very informed Wolverhampton Wanderers versus West Ham United, a surprisingly informed Burnley who might be able to steal points from Leicester City. I think it's very possible. We've got Watford versus Manchester United. Can Manchester United finally take their revenge? I hope so. Obviously games like Everton versus Manchester City and so many more games that you'll not want to miss this Premier League match weekend. And of course we'll be talking about all of the games coming your way in this video.
Nice.
Now, of course, before we jump into my predictions, I do want to ask you guys that if you are not subscribed to this channel, to subscribe down below. Once again, I try to bring regular content to you guys to watch. I hope you guys end up enjoying it. We recently did just drop below 3,000 subscribers. Jeez, 300,000 subscribers, maybe one day. But we did recently drop under 3,000 subscribers, and I would like to go up above it. Once again, I know you guys can do it. I would really appreciate the support. But anyway, jumping straight into the predictions. Game number one, as you can see, I'm so confident I've already got it typed in. We've got Southampton versus Norwich. Now, of course, as I said, I'm so confident that Southampton will win this game this match week. Looking at Southampton overall, they've only lost one game in their last 9 Premier League games. They've taken some big results. They're looking really good at the moment, and I just can't see them losing points versus relegation team Norwich. Once again, I like this Norwich team. I think they've got the ability to score. I think defensively they're not as bad as when the season started, but at the end of the day, Southampton in far better form, and I do expect them to continue this run of form. I expect them to get a win versus Norwich. And in terms of a player to watch, although I'm very tempted to go for the Albanian striker Broja, it just has to be Southampton, the Saints engine in the midfield, James Ward-Prowse. Once again, absolutely fantastic midfielder. He does work defensively on the attacking front, creating 2.6 shot creating actions per 90 minutes, one of the top stats in European football. He's up there with some of the best midfielders in Europe in terms of a stat like that. Once again, James Ward-Prowse, a kind of midfielder who can do every single role in that position. Attacking wise, defensively, has to be my player to watch, as he will be a huge part to why they do beat Norwich. As I said, I am tempted to go for the likes of Broja. He has been brilliant on loan for Chelsea, which does beg the question. I want you guys to put in the comment section down below, do you think this is kind of a comment contest, a contest if you may? Sorry, that doesn't sound too pleasant, but I do want you guys to put down below, do you think Chelsea next season would be better off with Romelu Lukaku or Broja in the striker position? Who would be the better striker for Chelsea? As I said, I'm interested to see in your guys' opinions. I want you guys to take part in these videos as well. But jumping into our second game, Leeds United versus Tottenham. Now let me just say, Tottenham Hotspurs have just done the most Tottenham Hotspurs thing of all time. They've just beaten top of the Premier League, one of the best teams who look like they could win the Champions League this season. They've just beaten Manchester City and then gone to lose 1-0 to Burnley. That is the most Tottenham Hotspurs thing I have ever heard in my entire life. Tottenham Hotspurs to only win one game in their last 5, and that game is against the reigning Premier League champions Man City. Once again, that's the most Tottenham Hotspurs thing you could ever hope to hear.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
But versus a Leeds United team that has conceded 16 goals in their last 4 games, Spurs might have a chance. But once again, it is Spurs. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up losing this one. But I do think that Spurs, once again, looking at Leeds defensively, how bad they've been in their last few games, I don't think Spurs will have any problems, especially now that Harry Kane seems to be in better form. I think he's been part of 7 goal contributions in Spurs' last 9 games, something like that. So I do think Spurs will win it. I do think they'll win it comfortably. And as I said, with those kinds of statistics, the player to watch has to be good old Harry Kane. As I said, Spurs just, well, I can't even say have been in better form. I mean, look at that statistically. Spurs, you need to pick up, but once again, versus Leeds, I do expect the result. Moving on, we've got Brentford versus Newcastle United. Newcastle United undefeated in 2022. I mean, I wish I could say that about Manchester United, my club, but the fact that Newcastle United are in better form, I think speaks levels. But looking at Newcastle United, they've definitely pulled out some big results. Obviously 3 wins in a row where they did beat Everton 3-1. They've got a 1-0 win versus Villa. They've got a 1-0 win versus Leeds.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Newcastle aren't looking bad. Obviously, to also get a draw within this year versus Manchester United and West Ham, Newcastle United are looking like a serious threat, and versus a Brentford team that have been very, very poor when it comes to form as of late. Don't see Newcastle United losing this one. I can see them win it 2-1. And in terms of a play to watch, I am going to go for the legendary Voldemort Shelvey. Once again, in the midfield position hasn't been too bad for Newcastle United. 2.2 shot creating actions per game. Attacking wise, he's there, getting 2 interceptions per game on average. Once again, just like James Ward-Prowse, John Joe Shelvey, very in form in both attacking and defensive areas. I think he could be a player to watch. Could also go for someone like Joe Willock, although he hasn't been scoring the goals, has been in decent form. But regardless, the moral of the story is I think Newcastle will take the points from Brentford. Moving on, we've got Brighton versus Aston Villa. Now, this is one of the games that I think is trickier to predict this match week, because looking at Brighton, once again, a top team. They've gotten some top points. Aston Villa, although they've got some brilliant individuals, they have not been picking up the points that they should. I mean, Aston Villa, to get a 1-0 loss versus Watford. I don't know what went wrong there. A 1-0 loss versus Newcastle United. A 3-3 draw versus Leeds.
Disgusting!
Aston Villa, you're not going to be happy with stats like that. Looking at Brighton, yes, they've just lost 3-0 to Burnley, but in their defense, they didn't have the greatest English centre-back of all time, Lewis Dunk. He was suspended from that Manchester United game. So the fact that Dunk is back for this game, or at least he should be, versus Aston Villa, could be a major boost to Brighton. As I said, it is so hard to divide these two teams. I am going to end up going for a 2-2 draw. I think it will be so incredibly close, although Steven Gerrard would like to pick up on form, but Brighton, very good this season, 9th place on the Premier League table. For them, if they end up in the top 10 this season, that is a major success. But my player to watch, it is going to be the likes of Neil Maupay, the French striker, although not necessarily top of the stats like he has been some seasons. Once again, he's saved Brighton on multiple occasions, has scored past 90-minute winners and draws for Brighton, and I could almost see a similar situation here. I could almost see Aston Villa have a 2-0 lead and absolutely blow it to be a 2-2 draw.
Ooh, you're hard, showing off.
Aston Villa, not a bad team, but midfield-wise has been struggling in the last few games, and versus this Brighton team that really could fire on all cylinders, let me say, I think Brighton could end up getting a draw from this one. It's going to be an incredibly close game, and I cannot wait to watch it. Moving on, we've got Crystal Palace versus Burnley. Now, heading into this prediction, if you asked me a few days ago, I would have 100% Burnley, almost an easy win, to be honest. Yes, I know, I don't think that phrase has ever been said so far this Premier League season, but obviously Crystal Palace picking up a 4-1 win versus Watford. Now, yes, I know Watford not particularly known for their defensive ability. I mean, the last time they kept a clean sheet was probably Valentine's Day.
I don't know. I think that's a bit dodgy, mate.
And I mean, that's not even a great thing, is it? So the fact that Crystal Palace haven't been, or have not necessarily picked up too many wins in their last few games, Burnley seem to be playing well, although maybe some of their results don't show it. I think Burnley have been in great form as of late. I think they've played some really good football, even if not all of their results have showed it. But obviously getting a 1-0 win versus Spurs, a 3-0 win versus Brighton, I do think Burnley could beat Crystal Palace. I'm tempted to give it some sort of entertaining 3-2 win. But come on, we know football, we know Burnley, it might just be a 1-0 win. As I said, I like this Crystal Palace team. As we saw in their previous game, they have the ability to score goals, they have the ability to attack on all cylinders. But once again, Burnley, the form they've been in, have to give them the win. And my player to watch, it is going to be the man with the most Dutch name of all time, Wout weghorst. Well, I mean, he is Dutch, I guess you can expect a Dutch name. But of course, although not necessarily firing away and being top of the goal scoring tally, I mean, watching him in that previous game versus Tottenham Hotspurs, the amount of control he has on the ball for a 6'6" striker, I mean, I wouldn't even say shooting and goal scoring is his best ability. I mean, just to watch him on the ball, the kind of composure he has on the ball for a striker, it is something that Burnley has needed for a very long time. And I think Wout weghorst is a big game changer for Burnley, not necessarily from a goal scoring point of view, but even setting up play. I think he is a fantastic striker, and we will see that versus a team like Crystal Palace. And I'm going to call it, although not scoring a ton of goals yet, I think Wout weghorst could score 2 goals versus Crystal Palace. Once again, we know what he can do in the Bundesliga, scored 20 goals in the Bundesliga last season, and I think we'll see him finally firing away versus Crystal Palace. Next up, we've got a game that I'm semi-terrified of as a Manchester United fan, as it is Manchester United versus Watford. Now, the reason I'm terrified is obviously Manchester United to lose 4-1 versus Watford the last time these two teams met. This fixture is the reason Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got sacked from the United job, which, I mean, whether that's a blessing in disguise or whether that's even caused more pain for Manchester United, I guess at the end of the day, Manchester United have only lost one game in their last 14 Premier League games. So in terms of Premier League form, they've definitely picked up, and obviously talking about those 14 Premier League games. Before that, the last loss they got was versus Watford. We're looking at Watford. Since that 4-1 win versus Manchester United, they've only won one game in their 14. So very contrasting results and choosers of form between these two teams. And because United have been in better form, I'm going to try believe in my team. I'm really going to try believe in my team, as I do think United could pick up a 3-0 win. I mean, we know Manchester United. I could be proven very wrong here. United could lose 4-1 a game. I would not put it past this Manchester United team. But obviously, looking at Man United versus Watford, looking at United form-wise, obviously just drew 1-1 versus Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. I would like to think that they are the favourites versus Watford, but you never know. But in terms of a player to watch, it has to be the likes of Elanga. Look, I'm telling you, ever since Greenwood got into his little bit of trouble and has been suspended from the squad, I thought we would miss that young player in the squad. But Elanga has filled out that role to get a goal in that game versus Leeds United, to get a goal in the Champions League, an equaliser versus Atleti. Once again, he might be the future for Manchester United. The form he's been in, been very impressed with him. Out of this entire Manchester United squad, has the best goals per minute ratio out of anyone in the team. So I have to give Elanga the player to watch. Now moving on, Everton versus Man City. Now I'm not even going to joke about this one. If Everton even get a goal in a game like this, I will be surprised. I think Man City are going to absolutely smack Everton. Looking at Man City, they've only lost versus two teams this entire season. Yes, they've gotten 3 losses, but 2 of their losses have been Spurs, so I don't know why Spurs is Manchester City's kryptonite, but at the end of the day, Everton, absolutely dreadful form. You guys have fantastic players in your squad, but I mean, just looking at it from a result point of view, a 2-0 loss versus Southampton. I genuinely thought, bringing in the likes of Dele Alli, Donny van de Beek, I thought this would be a brand new team. Obviously, Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming back from injury, but somehow Everton have just out-Evertoned themselves. In terms of form, absolutely not going to give it to Everton. I have to give it to Man City. I think they can absolutely smack Everton at the moment. And I mean, Everton, you guys are in real threat of getting relegated this season. Currently 16th place on the Premier League table, only 2 points off of the relegation zone. Something needs to change. And in terms of a player to watch, I am going to go for the likes of Riyad Mahrez. Obviously scored a penalty versus Tottenham Hotspur, has gotten 8 goals, 4 assists so far this Premier League season, is a man on form, is an absolutely brilliant player, and I think we could see 2 goals versus Everton. Moving on, we've got West Ham versus Wolves. I think this is our second last game of this Premier League match week. Obviously not all teams are playing this match week for some reason, but West Ham versus Wolves. I'm not going to lie, this isn't just the Manchester United player in me, but I think West Ham United have potential to let that Champions League spot slip away. As we know, United are starting to go further and further ahead of West Ham, but looking at West Ham United, they have lost some really weird points here or there. Obviously a 1-1 draw versus Newcastle, you don't expect that. A 2-2 draw versus Leicester, where I actually think Leicester were the better team versus West Ham United. I haven't been super impressed with West Ham. I do think they have dropped in form. I think some players haven't been performing as well as they should. Obviously Antonio, not as good as the beginning of the season. Look, obviously Jared Bowen, being a brilliant player so far this season. I'm really excited for the Haaland, Mbappe and Bowen era of football that's coming up. But versus Wolves, I'm very tempted to give Wolves a win in this one. If you look at them from a form point of view, winning 5 of their last 6 Premier League games, obviously that loss being versus Arsenal, bit of a weird one, but I think this Wolves team is extremely good. Looking at them in their previous game, in that 2-1 win versus Leicester City, although maybe they weren't by far the better team, they did get the result. I like this Wolves team. I think on the attacking front, they can be very dangerous midfield-wise. As we know, they can control the game if they want to, and defensively, Jose Sá, brilliant goalkeeper. I'm not going to lie, at the moment, I like Wolves' chances a lot more than West Ham United, which is weird to say. I think West Ham United have let some chances slip as of late. They've made some sloppy errors, but I do think Wolves will win it. And in terms of a player to watch, I am going to go for the likes of, now once again, tricky one, but I think it is going to be Pedro Neto. Obviously, just made his return in his previous game to the Premier League after a very, very long-term injury. Once again, I think we're going to see how much Wolves did miss him up front, the amount of chances he can create. Obviously, very promising youngster, was brilliant in the Premier League last season for them. I think he will come back with a bang, and he is going to do it versus the Hammers. Moving on to our final game of this match week, obviously Burnley going to have their second game of this match week versus Leicester City. Now, once again, this could potentially be a tricky one because although Leicester on paper a far better favourite in this one, I actually think Burnley could take points from Leicester City. I think it is going to be a tremendously close game. I do think Burnley defensively have been brilliant as of late. I think Ben Mee, Tarkowski, they've been good. Nick Pope, been really, really good. On the attacking front, with the likes of Brownhill, with the likes of McNeil, weghorst, Cornet, I do think Burnley have a really good team, and I genuinely think they could escape the relegation zone. Once again, if that's something you guys think, do let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think Burnley could escape relegation? But versus Leicester City, I do think it could be a close one, but at this stage, we know how football works. I do think it will be a 1-0 win to Leicester City. I do think it is going to be one of those wonder goals that either James Maddison or Yuri Tielemans ends up scoring. I do think it will be a super tight contest, and I think Leicester City will just end up taking it for some reason. Once again, I know Leicester haven't been in brilliant form, but this is the kind of game now we know Leicester City to win. As I said, I do think either Tielemans or Maddison will be the favourite to watch, and I am going to go for the likes of Yuri Tielemans. Once again, one of those midfielders who are brilliant defensively and attacking wise, has scored 6 goals so far this Premier League season, is one of those midfielders defensively among some of the top stats in Europe when it comes to tackles, clearances, attacking ability, when it comes to assists, progressive passes. Yuri Tielemans is your man to watch and could be a real game changer versus Burnley. As I said, we'll have to wait and see. But that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes my Premier League Match Week 27 prediction video. I hope that you have enjoyed it. Once again, I am trying a different style video in terms of editing. As you guys can tell, I didn't over edit this video. I mean, I'm saying this before I've edited the video, obviously that's how timelines work, but obviously I'm trying a less edited video. Once again, I have been losing a few subscribers here and there, so I am changing what I am experimenting a tiny bit because I want this channel to grow. I want it to do the best as possible. So once again, guys, hope you have enjoyed this video. Put your predictions in the comment section down below, and as I said, if you have enjoyed it, do subscribe down below. Trying to get back above 3,000 subscribers, I would really appreciate it. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been Finn, FYNN. Until next time, cheers.